Hello, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zenkuda. Thank you so much for being in the soul space tonight. I am so glad to be here because I have a lot of chaos going on in the world out there somewheres. And it's so nice to be in here with you for the next hour and just get to be zen and in a really good space. So I hope you're joining me. And if you are, you want to share the show, whether you're joining me on radio or TV or one of the podcast networks. You don't always have to watch unless you're really interested in the cards. Sometimes you want to see those, but at the end of the show. But most of the time, I think you're probably listening to me from what our graphics say. So that's pretty cool. So I am just going to share the show. You guys know the drill. If you want to share it with me, that would be awesome. I'm looking. They changed my page, and I can never seem to get it on here, but I am trying. Okay, posts. Sorry for the dead airspace, guys. Bobby, if you could actually share it on the Zenkuda Soul Space page, I would love you because I can't seem to get a post tag there. So everybody, tonight we're going to talk about the astrology because it's a new month. Today is August 1st. So first we're going to talk about the astrology, and then we're going to go on and talk a little bit about cards. And whenever I read tarot for the people who are online with me, I always try and explain a little bit about how I read and how the cards work so that you at home, if you're trying to actually do your own tarot reading, or you're thinking about at some point reading cards, you can actually, get a little handle on doing that. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me see who I have online now. I'm going back to the Strong Island page. And you can call into the show tonight, too, if you want, anytime. We'll put the phone number up. You can call in, and I'll answer any questions you have. It doesn't have to be about astrology. It could actually be about anything spiritual or just about the current energy or something that is happening in your life that you are curious about. Okay. Yeah, because I can't get the site on the Zenkuda Soul Space. Thanks. Let me see who's on tonight. I have on here tonight. Who do we have on? I've got Linda. Hey, you found us. Linda texted me before the show and said, hey, how do I find you? I have Sarah on. Sarah, thank you. You're such a faithful watcher. And Anne, she's one of our newer but more faithful watchers as well. Welcome, everybody. Janine's on here. So what is going on with this energy? I know you've all been feeling it. I've been getting a lot of messages and calls and all kinds of things. First of all, I want to say, before I go into a whole big thing about the energy, a lot of people are having, some health issues and slight health issues. And I'm finding that myself. My allergies are really, really, really flared up. So if you hear it in my voice on the mic or in my nasal places, just, bear with me. It won't last. It's probably just seasonal because someone said the goldenrod and hay fever is coming. So that triple conjunction that I spoke about the last couple of weeks is actually happening right now. The peak of it is right now. But of course, it's going to bring in a lot of energy and intensity up until September, October, November. So we're really, really feeling this. But today is the day that it actually is exact in the sky. So we're going to have some of this intensity for a little while right now. So the other thing I want to talk about tonight is we do have a full moon in Aquarius coming in. That's on August 11th. But when I was thinking about all this energy, and really I've had a lot of time to be more introspective lately, and I was thinking about how challenging these last 2 years have been for us. And almost 3 it'll be soon, right, with when COVID started in 2020. And I remember it all starting in December of 2019 when we had that conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, and it was this big deal, and everybody was like, running to places where they could use their telescopes and see it. And it was, something that didn't happen for thousands of years. And everybody was really, excited about it. And what that made me think about was this particular triple conjunction that we have going on right now with Mars, Uranus, and the North Node all coming into play, because that also is a transit happening, an event, I like to call it an event, that really hasn't happened for over 2,000 years. So whenever I see an event like that in the sky, I always think to myself, why was I born to experience this particular event? Right? Because if you think about it, we're all born at a certain time in the sky when the planets are aligned just so in a certain time of day, even in a certain place on Earth that determines our, karma and our astrology chart. So it kind of stands to reason that there's a reason for that. And so when I think about a conjunction that's as rare as this one, it really makes me very introspective. So I was thinking about the last couple of years, and one of the things that I really have mastered quite a bit compared to, when I think back to 2019 and pre-COVID and going through COVID, is I've mastered the art of not being swayed by so much distraction. There is so much noise out there in the world. It becomes this huge, not only distraction, but I call it kind of evil. And I know that's a really strong word, but what I'm going to say is that when something takes our focus away from the things we're meant to do, and I'll give you an example. Like the other day, we had some incident at work, and I won't say which work because I don't want to give everything away. But basically, what had happened was there was somebody who was like hired to do something, and they were like somebody that in the past we had like a few, kind of like doubts about or whatever. Everyone knows people who are like, a little shady. But I don't want to say that, but I just did. Oh, so, and your curiosity goes up about it. So now whenever that happens, whether it's in your social life or work life or wherever, now it becomes the conversation. And everybody starts joining into the conversation. So it gets to be like, oh, did you see this? Or, oh, I think this. Or, I saw this online. Or, oh my God, did you hear this one? And all of a sudden, nobody's working or nobody's like actually having a productive conversation if it's something social. And this person has just taken everybody's energy to the point where no one's doing anything they're supposed to do for any kind of productivity in their own life. And I always say that's evil, because what happens is we think that we are, maybe just doing something harmless, maybe a little gossiping, or maybe just talking about something. But we keep talking about it, and it takes all our energy away. And the next thing we know, maybe an hour has passed and we didn't get that assignment done, or we didn't get to the grocery store, or we didn't get to do something we wanted to do around the house because we've been on the phone like BSing about this person who's such a curiosity. And so those are the kind of things, they're mundane, they come into our everyday life, but those are the kind of things that really suck our energy. And when I say suck our energy, what I'm talking about is it doesn't leave any energy left for the things you really want to do. And so before we know it, our life isn't well used. Our life becomes something that now we're feeling depleted, and maybe we're a little depressed because unbeknownst to us, this person, this situation has come in and completely distracted us, completely thrown us off of our goal. And the funny thing about these mundane situations that happen, it could be something as mundane as, you paid a bill wrong and you have to get on the phone with customer service, or your cable isn't working and you have to deal with the service provider. And all of a sudden it shoots our day. And I always feel like that's evil at work. Not that that person's evil or that situation's evil, but the fact that we start to worship that thing, whether it's for a few hours or a day or a few weeks, we actually give all our focus to it. And it's like we're worshiping this crazy thing. And we start to take on the energy of it. And that's when we really get lost in distraction. That's when we really get lost in that outer world of externals where there's so much noise. And the funny thing is, usually a couple weeks after that happens to us, or maybe even a day or a few hours, that thing that we were worshiping, that we gave all our attention and focus to and didn't even realize, doesn't mean anything to us. So one of the things that I find, and I give myself kudos for, is that especially during these last few years with COVID and a lot of sequestering, and a lot of us have had the time where we're not so social, we're not so busy with the busyness and the noise, that we can really, focus and look and put our attention towards a different level of consciousness and a different level of ego. Because when we engage in a lot of those distractions and those conversations about the curiosities or the frustrations, or we want to vent, as people like to call it, we've coined that word, right? When I grew up, a vent was something the heat came out of. So I guess it still is, it's just a person. And so when we do those things and we vent and we have that emotion, we don't realize how much we're really losing out on, because our focus is so from what it should be on. And it's almost like our train jumped onto a entirely different track and we're just going in a different direction. We wanted to go to Minneapolis, but all of a sudden we're going to Detroit, or whatever you want to say. But where that comes into this equation of this triple conjunction is this is energy that can be malevolent in the way of bringing us into a distraction, making us just want to be focused on rebellion, focused on frustrating things, focused on all the layers. Funny story, one of my friends this morning had me on the phone and we were just chit-chatting because we didn't get a chance to touch base over the weekend. And while she was rushing to work, she went to a drive-thru to order food. And it became like a comedy show. They couldn't fill the order right. It wasn't the right price. It wasn't all this stuff. And I was thinking to myself, wow, if this isn't Mercury, Uranus, and the North Node conjuncting, it wants to give us all these different layers, all these different pages to have to sift through in order to get to the real end. And so we've got to really protect our attention and focus. We have to really make sure that we're putting that energy and that focus and that vibe we have to the things that are really important to us. And that's where the planet Venus comes in. And we're going to have some Venus energy opposing Pluto on the 9th of August. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about those distractions and that energy that comes in. Because I really do refer to that as evil in a way, because it really is. Because to me, evil is anything that has a malevolence or a malevolence that is bringing us out of the energy of creation and the energy of creativity. And that's what all those things do. Whether it's the new guy at work that everyone's talking about and suspicious of, or the new girl in the group, or the customer service rep that's just you can't get through, or the order taker through the drive-through. All those things, when they take us away from our own productivity, are in a way evil because we allow that situation to become that. Not that those people are or those places are. It's that we allow it to ruminate and circle and grow till it's really not a good force in our life. And we're all guilty of that. But I think that this month especially and into the rest of this year, we've got to really be careful. Not everything put in front of us deserves our attention. And we've really got to start asking ourselves what deserves our attention. This energy coming in really demands our focus and ego. And that ego plays into those situations and the type of energy that I'm describing because we want to feel excited. We want to get that rush of finding something out about someone or being the first one to tell a story about something or winning over the customer service rep that's frustrating or telling the drive-through person, we are right, you are wrong. And that's the really low energy of the ego. The higher energy of the ego is having an experience, maybe having someone push our buttons. And instead of engaging, thinking about it in our own space, in our soul space, and realizing, I can have a different experience. I can change my emotion and my experience without ever having to even engage that person. Because in the end, they really don't have anything to do with it. And they're not going to be your place of satisfaction. The place of satisfaction is going to be going within and changing your own energy to not be so distracted by all the noise that doesn't matter. Media is a big way to do this. Social media is a big way to do this. My social media pages aren't that successful. Why? Because in order for the algorithms to direct people to my things, I've got to go in the news feed and keep liking and commenting on everyone else's things. I'm sorry, I don't really go in the news feed that much. I put my posts up for you guys and I come off. I don't spend time on the media. So it's a necessary because I know that that's where you guys look for me and want to find me. And I want you to get the message that I am, entrusted to give you. But at the same time, I don't want to go in those news feeds and see a lot of the things that are just noise. So we've got this supermoon coming in on the 11th of August, and that's the 4th supermoon in a row. What's a supermoon? A supermoon is when the planet is closer to Earth than it normally is. So this moon coming in on the 11th is going to be huge for energy because the moon is really, really close to the Earth. But before I talk about that, I just want to talk a little bit more about this triple conjunction. So, and the reason why I brought the moon up at that point is because it's emotional. And this is all about emotion, checking our emotion at the door, because this is a very eruptive energy coming in now. It's going to be with us for the next few months. This triple conjunction of Mars, the planet of aggression, the god of war, Uranus, sudden unexpected change, and the North Node, our destiny, our everything, points north to what we're really supposed to be in our lives. That triple energy of conjunction at 16 degree Taurus, hasn't happened in over 2,000 years. And it's happening to bring us all somewhere. It's happening for us to almost rebirth ourselves in what the North Node, our arc of development, really wants us to do with our life. And I've been talking about this now for 3 weeks. And this is the caveat of it all that I'm going to say to you guys. Things are going to happen. Depending on what house this is in, and I'm going to go through the houses for you guys. Things are going to happen and things are going to change. We are all going to have inevitable change in our life somewhere. For some, it could be something very subtle. For others, it's going to be very dramatic. We're going to see a lot of breakthroughs in relationships where maybe you've been trying to have the relationship that you desire for a long time, and all of a sudden you have a breakthrough and it just happens and you both see eye to eye for the first time in a long time. There will also be breakups because this is an energy of breaking. It's either going to break through, break up, or break free. Either way, this is all about freedom. It's about freedom in one form or another, somewhere in your chart, wherever that Taurus house is. The reason why it's inevitable and irrepressible is because Uranus is an energy like lightning. You can't bottle it. You can't stop it. It's going to happen. Taurus is an energy that is fixed. When we have this new moon, this full moon on the 11th, we're going to have 6 planets in fixed signs, in fixed energy. That means it ain't moving. It's not going anywhere. Try to knock over the bull, Taurus. You're not knocking that over. You're not changing it. It's not going to do anything it doesn't want to do and that it isn't destined to do. So this is very tough energy. The only way to be in this energy is to flow with the change. The more you resist it, the harder and more urgent it will be. If you want the change to be gentle, you've got to work with it. You've got to flow with it. You've got to realize on the other side of it, there is something great for you. That cave that we're all afraid to go in, the deepest, innermost fear, because the North Node is in Taurus and the South Node, which is our fear, our where we come from, our comforts, that's in Scorpio. What does a Scorpion do? It likes to dig deep. So this is a very intense energy, and we're all going to have it in one form or another. So the moral of the story is, when we have energy like this, a lot of times we get uncomfortable. We get things happen. Maybe it's 2 steps forwards and a step back. And so we start to change our dreams. We start to think, maybe I shouldn't have tried to do that. Maybe I was overreaching, or maybe I'm really not cut out for this. And what happens is that's not the energy that's going to work with this. You're not supposed to change your dream. You're supposed to change the dreamer, you. That's what this energy is about, especially when we have Jupiter retrograde, Saturn going retrograde. Retrograde planets happen to make us introspective, to make us think about ourselves and grow and better ourselves. So instead of trying to keep changing the dream to fit the scenario so you can keep your comfort level, you've got to change yourself, the dreamer, to go into the dream you're really meant to do. Used correctly, all this energy, the god of war, aggression, Uranus, sudden unexpected change, the North Node, our destiny, the fixed energy of Taurus, the bull, the best way to use that is be tenacious, stubborn, have tenacity, hard work, all for your goal in a healthy way. So don't change the dream, change the dreamer. Get disciplined, get better, get more serious, get more focused, get more healthy ego so that you are the assertion, not the aggression. Because all around us in the world, you're going to see a lot of aggression. You're going to see a lot of things crumble. You're going to see a lot of things explode. Seismically also, because this is an energy where the earth feels unstable seismically. So you're going to see volcanoes, you're going to see earthquakes. But if you can stop being distracted by all that and go in your own space and harness this power for good, you can really go to your destiny and accomplish your dreams in this energy. So let me run through the houses really quick, because this energy is going to be really fast moving. I'm going to tell you that. So use it for self-focus, because if you use it to focus on other stuff, you're just going to get more and more aggravated and want to be more and more aggressive. Use it for self-focus. That's what I intend to do. So sun or rising sign. If you are a sun or rising Aries, this is going to happen in your second house, and I'll go to comments in a minute. This is going to happen in your second house. This is about money, finances, and resources, especially in business. This is about the things you love reflected into yourself, meaning that You're going to want to be liberated. You're going to want to have independence, but especially because it's second house, Aries, rising or sun sign, you're going to want to have a healthy independence financially. If you are dependent on anyone for money right now, that's either going to fall away unexpectedly or you're going to feel like you really need to break free of it and you're going to change something. There's a strong theme around financial independence for the Aries right now. You're going to want to liberate yourself. Taurus, if you're a Taurus sun or rising sign, this is happening in your first house. This is body, mind, your personality, your character. This is about asserting yourself so much that you really don't care what other people think anymore. Now you're really coming into your own. You're wanting to really, fly your freak flag and be that interpretive, independent, assertive person. I will caution you, my Taurus out there, this is very energetic energy. So you want to make sure that you're breaking through your limitations, but not being too bold or too rebellious, because in this energy, Taurus, that can happen. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. Gemini, 12th house. Gemini, if you're a sun or rising, this is unfortunately your shadows. This is blind spots. This is an energy where something can happen that completely blindsides you. It could also be a reward, something great that completely blindsides you. But this is going to be an energy where you're going to be compelled sometimes to be a little radical and willful because you've got this blind spot right now. But it's also an energy, if you use it to work with, that you can have a lot of revelations and you can see clarity in those blind spots. And now really your life will open up to be a completely different perspective. So, it's all up to you and the choices, Gemini. Cancer. For my Cancer sun and rising, this is your 11th house. This is groups of people, friends, colleagues. Again, don't forget, this is an independent energy. Uranus is freedom. It is freedom. And we've got Saturn going retrograde, which is the limitation. So this is that same old thing we've had since the beginning of 2020. Freedom, control, freedom, control. So for Cancers especially, this is about your groups of friends, your communities. You want to break free of be independent from groups, or it could also be that the groups that you're in are going to undergo a lot of changes. So don't be the hero, Cancer. In this energy, this is my Cancers. In this energy, you're going to be compelled to go for the underdog and root and want to be that hero because you want a sense of belonging. And you're kind of at odds right now, feeling like you're not belonging. You really don't want to be the hero here. Take a back seat. Leo, this is in your 10th house for my Leo suns and Leo risings. This is your career. Your career is going to be on steroids for the next half of the year. This can be breaking the mold at work, coming up with a new way of doing things that you're rewarded for, a new intervention. Or it could be that you walk out, that suddenly you're released from a job and it's a really great thing for you in the end, but you got to go through it. Or you have a war of words, something defiance. There will be defiance in the workplace, even if it's not you personally. You will be surrounded by it. This is an erratic energy, but if used the right way, it can give you the energy of being daring and pioneering and coming up with original ideas. So really put your self-focus on that 10th house work area and see, where the universe is asking you to move forward and change something in your career. Virgos, this is your 9th house if you are Virgo rising or sun. This is sudden trips to foreign lands. It could be meeting foreign people or people who speak in a foreign language. There's also higher learning. If you have been taking any kind of classes or spiritual classes or mystical classes, astrology, tarot, healing, this will be really a course of study that you focus on and will be something that will be with you for a very long time in your life. Just be careful of fanaticism because like you guys can see, this theme is like too much, wherever it's falling in your chart, the pendulum can swing to the really harsh energy of it. And you want to stay in that self-focus because for Virgos, taking on something new can be really inspirational, but you also in this energy have a tendency to be fanatical about it. So keep yourself grounded. Libra, sun or rising. This is your 8th house. This is the house of transformation, death, sex, and taxes. So when we say taxes and money in this house, it's to do with a spouse or partner. This is freedom from debt and also very deep obligations. It could be a family obligation. It could be a work obligation. But in this energy, this is freedom from very emotional, transformative obligations and also debt. This is freeing yourself from unhealthy entanglements, my Libras. This is suddenly being able to have a breakthrough, but you want to be careful that you're not bargaining here in a way that sells yourself short or puts you in a situation down the road that you're going to regret. So for all my Librans out there, this can be an energy where you're finally rid of unhealthy entanglements, but do it gently because this can also be a harsh energy. Scorpios, 7th house, my Scorpio sun or rising. This is revolution. Scorpios, you are going to want to bust out and break out. This is breathing new life into romantic relationships. It could be leaving one relationship for another. It could be all about breakups, evolving in a relationship if you stay with the person. Like I said, breakthrough or breakup for Scorpios, that is the story. That's your 7th house is getting hit, and you are going to have confrontations about differing values in your relationships. Not just romantic. Romantic would be the primary, but this could be any partnership or relationship that you have, Scorpio. You just want to be a little rebel right now and until the end of the year. Sagittarians, I'm a Sag rising. I've been having a very frustrating time of it, and that's frustrating. The Sag risings are sun sign. It's just a challenging energy. You're going to find a lot of blocks and conflicts. It could also be health-wise. That's why my allergies are flaring up. This is your 6th house. It's your everyday routine. It is a project that you're working on also could become very much moving forward in this energy. It's creativity, it's birth, it's children, it's pregnancy. It could be something like, your child comes and tells you they're having a baby, but you're like, what? It could be something that's sudden and unexpected and that at first is jarring, but in the long run, a good thing. The best way to use this energy is really for creativity. So if you are a Sag, rising, or sun, try and self-focus on creativity and not allowing the rebellion and the frustration of sudden changes to knock you off your goals. Capricorn, sun and rising, this is your 5th house. I'm sorry. Sagittarius is the 6th house, which is the routines and stuff. 5th house is also birth. It's fertility. It's creativity. Whereas for the Sagittarians, that energy is going to happen more in your daily routine. For the Capricorns, this is happening in the house of creativity, recreation, fun, your inner child. This is about different views. It can also be, my Capricorns, about sexual exploration. This is the energy where you start doing things that you never thought you would do. So again, try to ground yourself so that you don't have that morning after embarrassment. And that's where it falls for Cappies in that 5th house of, creativity, but sex for fun and recreation and all things like that. Like we always say, everything is fun until someone loses an eye, right? So Capricorns really have to make sure that they ground themselves. The best use of this energy actually for Capricorns is if you do any kind of interpretive art or music or anything like that, this is a great time to pursue that for you guys. Aquarius, sun or rising. This is your 4th house, home and family. So there will be sudden changes. There will be revolutions. There could be sudden moves also for those of you who are Aquarius, sun or rising. When this happens in your 4th house, it really makes you want to change your house, redecorate, things like that. I wouldn't do that when Mercury is retrograde. Look at the dates for that. And Pisces, I'm sorry to say, Pisces, this is your 3rd house. And the reason why I'm sorry to say it is because the 3rd house is neighbors, environment, and your siblings. So if sudden unexpected, outbursts or breakthroughs or breakups happen in this energy, it might be because in this energy, Pisces, you're easily offended. You're very sensitive right now. You have a lot of ideas and you're very inquisitive and innovative. But if somebody doesn't like your ideas, you can get really offended. So you may want to make sure that the drawing board you're working with is really precise and clear before you present something to others. Best use of this energy for Pisces is probably to be a little introspective. you want to ground and really kind of stay within and really think about your ideas before you tell people about them. When you have to deal with neighbors, friends in your environment, or siblings, Pisces, this energy can be a bit manic, where you're really, easily offended and get a little depressed. So you may want to put off some serious decisions or serious things to another time frame. So that is the energy of this triple conjunction that is perfecting today and that we're all going to be in for a while. I don't know if you guys have any questiones about this energy. I'm going to go to my comments now. All fun and games until somebody loses an eye, right? Our mother used to say that. Kathy Demori is a Sagittarius. Yeah, so Sagittarius, this energy is really happening in our 6th house. And that's our everyday routines, our work life. It's short distance travel. So it really is just everything's frustrating. I know I'm a Sag rising, Catherine. And for me, it's like everything I do has another layer to it. It's like nothing is going smooth. So the way I'm dealing with that is I'm leaving extra time to go places and I'm making sure I'm fully prepared. I'm checking things twice. It's almost like a Mercury retrograde. And Linda Demore, you are the Gemini, and also is a Gemini. And the Geminis, this is actually your 12th house. And so this is deep for you guys. I have to say, Geminis, these are conflicts you don't see coming. This is like you get up in the morning and you're having a good day and then it just changes. Or you get up in the morning and you're feeling kind of low and then something great happens. It's sudden, unexpected change. It's upheavals, but it's also about your unconscious. This is about like things you want or dream of or think about doing. In this energy, you're going to have the guts to do them. So Libra also, this is all about... Chris, this is all about, entanglements and deep, entanglements and things that you have been in for a while and they're going to either clear, you're going to have a breakthrough about it. It's unhealthy stuff that gets cleared. And this is also things that liberate you. I'm looking for the right words. Like things that liberate you will happen for us Libras right now. And it's going to be a good thing, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be emotional. So that's just how it goes. So I am actually going to pull some cards for some energy because it says on here that I have more comments than I'm actually seeing. So let me go to my live so I can see it because sometimes I don't always see my comments in real time. We have a little bit of a delay here in the studio. Okay, here we go. There are my comments. Hey, Janine. Yeah, so that's what this energy is about for the most part. So now I'm looking to see if I have any other questions. Hey, Chris. The Kalanoff girls are here. It's Stephanie and Mom. I love you guys. So Carrie Ann says, okay, oh my God, changing the dream. Okay, that's out. Yeah, like that's how we do it. And we do it so easily. We're trying to strive for something and then something will happen and like, oh, it's a sign I shouldn't do it. Well, really think about that because I think sometimes we delude ourselves into thinking we just want to stay in the comfort zone. Every one of us has somebody in our family that we watch and that we know as soon as something gets to be a little tough or a little hard or actual work, they just like shy away from it. It's human nature to take the path of least resistance, but some people take that really to heart. And I think in this energy, you don't want to go with the path of least resistance. This energy is really challenging us to find a new us, birth a new life, birth a new person, come into another ascension, another expansion of love in our lives, whatever that may be for us. I know for myself lately, I'm meeting so many people that are just in the place where they're meant to be. Not for me. I don't mean it that way. I mean like I'm meeting people that are doing things that I just look at them and I say, you are absolutely right where you're supposed to be in the world with what you are doing as your vocation or your mission or whatever. And I'm seeing that more and more and more. And that's the energy that's been coming in since 2019. It's really about birthing a new world and finding where we're supposed to be in it. That's that Aquarian energy that's coming through, that Saturn energy. And so when that occurs, it really takes us into a place of dreaming and a place of future. So you don't want to give up so easy. And Sarah, you're a Taurus rising. This is going to be a tough one because it's all happening in Taurus. So the energy is very, very strong for you guys. But I think my Taurians also, it's strong energy, but it's good energy because it's going to give you, if you use it correctly, like unstoppable energy. Uranus is lightning in the room. It goes off and shows us where we can go, right? So it's really, really cool. So there's one other thing I want to just tell you about because it's happening before the next show, and that is between August 5th and August 7th. The moon is out of bounds. And I'm not going to go into the technical, thing about what that means because you guys won't remember it in 10 minutes anyway. But because, unless you really do astrology a lot. But when the moon is out of bounds, it means that it's really powerful and it's close to Earth. It's gearing up for that 11th supermoon, that full supermoon on the 11th. So when we have this energy between between August 5th and 8th, not only is the moon out of bounds, but it opposes Mars and Uranus, that triple conjunction. So what happens on those days is it's a reality check. People are going to feel like they're hitting a wall. We have some optimism coming in right now because we've got some stars and some planets in play that are giving us a little bit of boost of optimism. And when this starts to happen between the 5th and the 7th, it's kind of like a turnaround. It's excellent for getting things done. It's a disciplined energy, which is great for what we're talking about now if you want to use the energy in the right way. But it's also a reality check. It's like, I always use the analogy of the arrow, like you're doing target practice and you're hitting your arrows and you're making your mark and you're hitting your target, but you're doing it because you got to pull the arrow back. And this is that kind of energy. We're going. Oh, this is really doing good. I'm really doing good. Boom. And we hit a wall. We have a reality check. But the reason it's happening is to show us how to improve whatever it is we're doing, to show us we can do it better this time. So go back a little bit. It's like put the car in reverse, go back. It's like when you're trying to get out of a snowbank, right? You got to keep rocking the car. Well, that's what this is. We're going to get rocked a little bit between the 5th and the 7th. But the problem with this is the energy that's coming into the August 11th full moon, which is the supermoon in Aquarius at 19 degrees. And again, that 19 degrees, it's going to play in because we've got that triple conjunction sitting on that 18 degrees of Taurus. So if you have any planets between, I'd say, 16 to 20 degrees of fixed signs, you're going to feel this a lot. This is about, at that time, when we have that full moon come in, we've got 6 planets in fixed energy. Fixed energy is like Taurus, the bull, stubborn, Leo. This is that energy of like, if they're on the couch, they ain't getting off the couch. If they're out drinking, they're not coming home. If they're, want to go shopping, no one's stopping you from going shopping. This is the energy of I want to do whatever the hell I'm going to do, and you are not going to stop me. That's what this energy is. It's an energy that is great for getting things done because it's about control, but at the same time, it's an entrenchment in opposing views. So when I look at what's going on in the headlines with Nancy Pelosi and China and Taiwan, watch those dates globally, guys, between August 5th and the 11th. Stuff's going to go down. This is about the triple conjunction squaring the sun, which is a tough energy. I'm just going to say. It's original ideas, it's destiny, it's great leaps, but it's also shining a light on the things that we haven't wanted to look at. So watch those days. It's going to get a little hairy. But it's also, if you're in your own zone and you keep in your thoughts positive and affirmative, it's going to be great, 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 because you can control getting things done. It's such a productive energy if you can utilize it. So I'm going to pull a few cards right now. And the first thing I'm going to do, and I've never done this before, is because we have this full moon is also conjuncting Saturn. And Saturn is in Aquarius, and that's all about community. And I'll talk more about this full moon next Monday. But what I want to say about this Aquarian energy and the energy we're leading up to with this full moon on the 11th is that's a builder energy. It's for building things. It's for building communities. And it's for building communities with our resources. It's very future oriented. But don't, again, get caught in those externals, because when Aquarius creates community, it can also be exclusive. And we don't want to participate in exclusion. We want to be inclusive. So watch that energy. So what I'm going to do, something I never did before, is I am going to pull a card for the Zenkuda community and read some cards for all of us as a community as a whole and just see what comes out. Because that card popped out. I'm going to use that one. Okay. Let's see what I got here. I'm going to take that card from the bottom. Okay, this is really pretty amazing, actually. First of all, I'm going to go in reverse. So this was the last card that I pulled. And if I have a camera on the table, yeah, there we go. So this was the last card that I pulled. And if you look at this card, you can see there's many, it's like almost like a guru or a goddess is here. And there's people, and she's like actually touching the crowns of their head as though she's giving them energy or knowledge, right? And you can see this beautiful fire looks like almost wings around it. And this is symbolic for me of the Zenkuda community. If this is the energy of Zenkuda, and we all have a Zenkuda within us, our higher self, right? This isn't me teaching you. It's you all, higher self, the higher self that's within us. When we get those intuitive thoughts, when we get those, things that we call downloads or channels, a lot of times they're coming from the higher self within us, the soul that's been through many lifetimes that knows, right? So this is all of us. And in this energy especially, and hopefully with the beautiful knowledge and media from Zenkuda, we have the ability to learn more and teach ourselves. We have an ego, right? We have an ego that can be the lower energy of things and aggression and war. And then we have the other ego, which is our ego of love and peace and wanting to spread that energy all through the world. So this to me symbolizes the higher soul, the higher person of all of us, and the knowledge that our higher self has to give to us. So, and the other thing I see in this card that's really very blatant for me as I read it is a Trinity, right? And I always say the Trinity is so important to us, soul, right? Father, creator, right? We have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And that represents the creator energy, which is our higher self. Us as man, right? We are having a human experience. And then us as the spirit that lives within all of us. And that's really the personification of the Zenkuda community. So I just can't believe I picked that card, but that is really what the energy looks like for me. And also just the light around it, that we all have the power to find our own light and be who we are meant to be. And then this was the second card that I picked. This was the last card to culminate. And this was the second card I picked, which is this beautiful card with all of this energy in the crown of our head and just glowing. And this to me is also higher knowledge and fits in so well with this card that we drew last, because who are we if we're not expanding ourselves with our own knowledge and taking time to meditate or just be in quiet solitude so that we're in this brain. We're in the brain that really inspires us and is so intuitive and connected to this creator, this creation, this higher self, and not letting all the noise in that destroys this beautiful light within us. And then this was the first card I picked. And I picked this card often on the show, even though it's such a large deck that we have. Look at the size of this deck, but we pick this card so often. And this card, when you look at it, it's hard to see on camera, but it has a face here with all of this light coming out of this face. And then there's another face here, which is just in the shadow. And this to me is very much representative of the last card that I was explaining, where we all have a higher self with so much knowledge. And we try so hard to have that higher self come through. The soul wants it to come through. But we have this smaller self, this ego self here, here on camera, that doesn't always listen. And look at the waves of energy that this higher self, this beautiful creator-like energy is trying to give to this smaller face, this smaller being. That's our higher self trying to tell us, hey, come stay with me. Come listen to me. Don't go off into those interactions of distractions. And I'm going to pick a tarot card to confirm the reading. And then I'll go into the comments a little bit again. Oh, that flew out, so we got to use it, right? So these soul cards, I just read intuitively, and Spirit speaks to me and tells me what they mean. They mean something different for you when you look at them. But these were the tarot cards that I picked tonight. The first one that I picked was this card, which is the 8 of Pentacles. 8 is a very auspicious number. When I started my real estate business, I have the number 8888 because I knew that was auspicious, and I still have that number. And this is a card, the 8 of Pentacles, which is a card of hard work paying off. So when I see these cards all about our higher self and our spirit and really staying in, the self-focus now, this is the confirmation that the hard work will pay off. We've got some hurdles. This is a card of action. When I see the 9 of Wands, this means that we have our battles. We have our hurdles. We have to be cautious and leery, but we can be leery with an open heart. And that's really what this energy wants of us and wants us to do. I'm going to pick a last card to culminate this reading for the group and this beautiful reminder tonight. And what my schedule is usually is now, if you notice on my media, I do a Wednesday wisdom share where I put up a post about some wisdom that's come to me during the week. And on Fridays, I do a short video about the energy of the coming week. And then on Mondays, I'm here on the show. Do I have a call, Bobby? Hi, you're on the Soul Space. How are you tonight? Welcome.
Hi, it's Pauline from New York.
Hey, Pauline, how are you?
I got in before the end.
You did. I just want to explain this last card, and then I'm going to let you ask a question. So this last card is also the 8 of Cups. And you see we have 2 8s here for abundance, and that's telling us to use this energy to our betterment. And the 8 of Cups is walking away. You see we have a full moon in this card. We were talking about the full moon on the 11th. It's sometimes walking away of something that we thought was great for us. That can be emotional. But walking away from it, we also have more abundance. So that's really what we were talking about tonight. So, Pauline, how are you? And what can I do for you tonight? We have about 5 minutes left on the show.
I wasn't sure what you were saying that you wanted people to ask you about. I sort of feel, I guess I need to really do a personal session, but since I don't know when that's going to be, if I know where the North Node is in my second house, could you just briefly tell me what that's going
if
to
your
do
North
me?
Node, if your North Node is in the second house, that means that your destiny lies somewhere in possessions. The house of the second house is a house of possessions, and people think that's a lot to do with money and possessions like that. But a lot of times when I see
values, no? Isn't it values also?
Yeah, it's everything that we value. And a lot of times when I see the North Node in the second house, it can also be, depending on where it is, it can be a change of career. Like many times when I see that, I'll see someone start out in a career where they're making a lot of money and that's important to them, driving a certain car, and they're very materialistic. And then as they progress through life, their arc of development is the money and the materialism becomes less and less important, and they find their true destiny is in the value of the things in their heart and soul. And they begin to take on a different kind of career where they are now doing something very altruistic or charitable or healing or something like that.
Right.
So a lot of times that's the journey of the North Node in the second house, is realizing that the material possessions are not really what are ever going to make you happy.
And if it's in Virgo, that means I'm in service and also would be for healing.
Correct. So what happens with the North Node in Virgo a lot of times is people will start out in life being very fussy and putting a lot of pressure and goals and judgment on themselves. And then their best lessons are the fact that the world is imperfectly perfect. And when you relax about the perfectionism, you find the things in your heart aren't about the perfectionism of the material world. They're really about perfecting your soul in the metaphysical world.
My mother wanted me to become a doctor or a pharmacist, and I never wanted to do that, but a healer makes more sense to me.
Yeah, that would be also for me too, feeling that energy. So
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you for giving me that, and I will
you're
have a
welcome.
reading with you, more detailed, and I really want to look at the relationship stuff.
Yeah, just give me a call for a reading. You go on zenkuda.com under sessions, and you can book one.
Oh, that's right. We can do it online, right? We don't.
Yes, I can do it online. I do most of my readings online these days. So I just want to say, sign off. Thank you so much for calling, Pauline.
Thanks.
And that, I believe, is our show tonight. You can find me on zenkuda.com if you want to book a reading. I'm going to start to do some more events now that summer's winding down a little bit. And also you can find me on Zenkuda by Georgia Rose on Facebook. And you can find me on Instagram, Zancuda Official. Thanks so much for tuning in. I love you all. I'm going to send up a bunch of hearts. I think you guys are absolutely fantastic, and I love you so much. And I just want to thank you so much for always supporting my work and being in the soul space. Please share the show if you think people will benefit about it. And I will see you next Monday right here in the soul space. Bye-bye.